Well, dang right, I'm gonna do it.
You're right there.
Bug landed straight on my face.
That was a good point. That like Will was in like a really great point, and you just stole the spotlight.
Oh no, that was great. It was a great reaction. I thought she took like some smelling salts or something.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Hey.
What's up?
Same old shit.
Same shit. Different day. If you haven't, go to the Facebook group. Check out the breaking news.
Yes.
Things are changing for 2025.
Yeah.
So now's the time to get in on Patreon because Patreon things
So
are
if you
shifting
only
around.
want to, if you want to support us for the only $4 level,
Yes.
that's going away as of
Going
January
away.
1st.
Right. And everything else being restructured. Same
Yeah.
price points, but everything else being restructured. And and hopefully we'll be Patreon members. Will be a week early now.
10 days.
10 days. Sorry. 10 days officially. Yeah. So with that, this episode is brought to you by
Katie with Monarch Pine. So if you're looking for findings or blanks, check her out on Etsy and use code Riley Black for 10% off monarchpine.etsy.com. And she also just recently added a higher discount for our patrons. So if you're a patron, head on over to the Patreon page or the exclusive Facebook group for that code and many others, actually.
And if you join this month of November, you get what from Victor?
Ooh, so Victor sweetened the deal. He is giving all new patrons 25% off his files until the end of the year.
Oh.
And you are entered to win 5 free files.
Okay.
And we don't have any new patrons yet.
Right.
If you sign up right now, you're pretty much guaranteed to win if no one else signs up.
Now do the upgrades?
The odds are good right now.
Do the upgraded?
So the upgrades, they might count. We have to figure out where they fit because they were existing patrons.
Right.
So we had 2 people who upgraded their Patreon from the $12 level to $25. Any new or existing $25 patron, they get 45% off until the end of the year.
Now you say existing, so if they're already 25,
if they're all,
they get it automatically? Okay.
Yes. And then, but here's the good part.
But wait, there's more. Order now, you get a free slap chop.
You don't get a slap chop,
There's no slap
but
chop.
you get entered to win every single file from his shop
Oh.
if you're at the $25 level.
I mean, that pays for itself.
It does, and that's, I think, why the 2 people signed up for the upgrade.
That's a good.
So
That's a good deal. That's a good deal. And if this intro wasn't long enough,
right?
we have our second half.
Yeah. Let me get those out really quick.
I don't know what's going to happen. How we're going to read all these names.
We're gonna have to
all
split
these
it.
influx of members come
We'll
in.
find a way.
We'll find a way.
Yeah, because they're important.
Yes.
Okay, you ready?
Let's go.
Here we go.
Round 2.
Allison Mullen, Trisha with Mom of 6 Creations, Rexy, Heatherlyn with Lobo Designs, Liz with X-Tool F1 and Fiber Laser Jewelry Blanks by the Laser Outpost.
Charge her double.
Right? Superfan Brandy, Victor with Excited Adam, our sponsor this month, Katie with Monarch Pine, Lisa, David Dualtight, Stephanie, Barbie, Madison, Emily with TM Wall, Mark with BBLD, and Kathy Ray, and I don't know. Okay, sorry, there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more.
I was like, what about Will? MJ with Craft and Carry, Ryan with Sprouts Creations, and Will with Crazy Laser Dad. Speaking of...
Well, and with that Liz and her long name, I'm going to throw in Tom. Shout out Tom.
Shout out Tom.
Yes. But yes, speaking of Will, today on the show is the Crazy Laser Dad, Will Louis. I don't need a huge introduction for him.
You really
Everyone knows Will. I can sit here. Our intro would be even much longer if I went through everything.
Right? Through all of his things.
How's it going, Will?
It is going amazing. Thank you guys for having me. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We're good. We're good. So we have Will on today.
Yes.
Because, at this point, it was, weeks ago?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. we had one of our patrons actually, but also just one of our group members. She posted a topic because it was a smaller group and she felt a little bit more comfortable, posting it in there. And now we're going to tell everybody.
Yeah. Well, because it is something that has been asked in the public group and just something that always comes up.
It was a very good question. And, she was kind of like in her feelings, I guess, per se, about how, previously in her area, she was one of just a few laser owners, and they were all they were working well together, making sure they weren't undercutting each other, pricing too low, racing to the bottom, etc. Right. And then she felt that there was an influx of X-Tool or similar type laser owners coming into the industry and kind of talking about, she mentioned the cheaper price lasers. So the lower barrier to entry and how she felt that was negatively affecting, the industry and her sales. And one caveat to that was that, she did say that, this is the first year that she was doing this full time. Right. She had just, she left a 12-year teaching job and then also has this possibility looming over her head that her husband may lose his job in December and may be laid off. And so you add in those two things alone are kind of scary enough and kind of get you.
I mean, we're in that boat as well.
Right.
We're in a similar boat in that this is the first year that I've left. I mean, I've voluntarily left and we planned as much as we could, but I left my job and now we're both self-employed.
Yeah. So, and there was a ton. John had pointed out we were really proud of our group members and how each one took the time to really put a heartfelt I guess answer in there, not just the oh no, don't worry about them, you got this. Right. It was each one typed out a
raise
paragraph.
Your prices or it was actually when I was scrolling through, because I mean it's one of those things that I've seen before and I'm like, oh, let me go to the comments. Every comment was people took time to write out the comment, which was really, and then I read them and then they were all uplifting and kind of helping, which is great from our community that we've cultivated. Yeah. So shout out to you guys.
One really good answer was Will. You probably don't remember your answer, but how would you respond? But the message is the same. To how it right now, if that question was brand new to you, how would you respond to those kinds of thoughts or feelings, I guess?
I think that post was definitely resonated because we see that so often in the groups where we hear that word oversaturation significantly, right? I hear it in almost all the groups. I'm not just in laser groups, but even when I started getting into freeze-dried candy with my kids, the whole oversaturation thing was something that was brought up quite a bit. It's you see a post or two almost every week where they're like, what do I do about oversaturation, or should I get into lasers, or like your original poster said was, I've been doing this for a long time and now there's an influx of people who've come in. How do you compete with that?
Right.
And I'm always of the mindset of, I think oversaturation is a buzzword that people like to use as almost a crutch to why their business is not succeeding. I'm of the thought that there will always be more buyers than there are makers.
Right.
There will, I mean, think of it as your business as a maker. How many more projects or orders can you take in a week before you can't do it anymore?
Right.
If I got 100 more orders this week, could I handle it? Most people would probably say no.
Right.
So for the oversaturation to happen, is there only 100 extra customers out there?
Right.
There isn't. So there's enough buyers out there for everyone. I think for someone who came in as a Glowforge owner, that was a huge influx of new lasers, a whole new market of laser users, home users, hobbyists. I could see the same response is probably coming from people who had brick and mortars, who have been doing laser engraving for years, saying, oh my gosh, these Glowforge owners are now here. They're buying a home laser for $2,800. I paid $30,000 for
with
my
no
laser.
overhead or very little overhead. Yeah.
How dare they come into my sphere and take my customers? And so when I read the post, I thought, well, one, we just have to be better as makers, right? We have to be able to, like I've said before, you can do exactly what I do, but you can't be who I am.
Right.
So if we produce a great quality product, we deliver amazing customer service, and we put ourselves in front of more customers, we're just going to do better.
Right.
If I'm definitely, I've seen your work, Crystal, right? And what you can create. Your work is 10 times better than me. Right? I can't make 99% of the things you make. But if there was something that we both made and I was close, if you put your product in front of 100 people and I put my product in front of 1,000 people, I'm going to sell more.
Right. Good point.
It's just a numbers game. So I think the oversaturation part is a little overplayed. Right. I think what we do is we continue to focus our energy on our customers and getting our products in front of more people and not worry about what other people are doing.
Right.
And we have an advantage. We have, if they're getting a lower laser that takes a little bit longer or is limited in what it can do, then we take advantage of what advantage we have, what we've established. And, another point that I made in that comment was we love competition. Right. We love competition in all aspects of our life. Right. It brings down prices. It increases innovation. It increases product quality. Yet we don't want competition when it involves us. It's a bit critical.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have it both ways. You either love the fact that you can buy 20 different brands of bread and find the one that works best for you.
Right.
But when someone competes with me, it's like, how dare you?
Right. No, this is my space.
But it's scary. I don't dismiss the fact that when you're used to a certain amount of sales and then sales don't come, it's easy to say it's because of the competition, versus looking in the mirror and saying, what am I not doing that they're doing?
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
Hey makers, are you trying to grow your laser business but struggle with things like social media, building local business relationships, setting up your website, how to charge for your products, or when to add employees to your business?
Samita and Anuj Patel are passionate about helping other makers build their laser business and realize that each business owner is at a different stage in their journey. Like many of us, they started with a hobby laser at home but have since grown to a warehouse with 7 lasers, a UV printer, and generate 6 figures in sales and ship out over 5,000 orders a year.
Their one-on-one mentoring sessions are perfect for those who have questions and want answers. The hour-long session will be conducted over Zoom and will be recorded so that you have access to it after as well. No question is off the table, and they will give you actionable steps to take your business to the next level. Book your mentoring call at homeboundcustom.com to start growing your business today. Right.
So,
well, and another part of it could potentially be, there's so many factors, right? Are you posting enough? Right. Are your prices good and where they need to be? Are you putting out new items? Are you making sure that you're targeting your customers and the type of customers you want? And then, if you blame the economy, right? Well, in my response, I kind of leaned on the advice that we got from Robert Kofed when he was on, because that was kind of the start of the talks of are we in a recession? What's going on with the economy? And, his response was, first of all, this isn't the first time that we've had a difficult economy where people may be spending differently or whatever. And the key part is one, finding a problem if you can, and creating a solution to that problem. And the things that sell more during these times, whatever you want to call it, whether it's good or bad, that are like practical use items, not necessarily decor all the time.
Right.
So yes, try and sell the decor. If it's something that you enjoy making, make one for a friend. Something I think I heard Will suggest somewhere else was, basically charging them like a promo price, or just charging for the actual materials, and so they get a discount.
Right.
You don't, you're not out anything if you can't give it away for free.
Right.
So you it's kind of, it's symbiotic,
you kind of use it as a lead magnet to the rest of your, so like this one product is like, oh, okay, this price nice, and then that draws them into your site.
Well, but I'm saying, as far as like finding people, finding someone to make like the example for. So again, charging just enough to cover your materials, not even your time, just the materials and maybe shipping. They get a deal, but then you also get some samples out there for people. And these times are when it weeds out the people who aren't in it for the long haul too.
Right.
Because there's going to be these ebbs and flows constantly. And when there's these difficult times and it's a little bit harder to get those sales, the people who aren't 100% in it, this is when they're going to stop doing it, because it's hard. And so if they don't have their all, like, this is when it's gonna, I'm gonna sell it. And there's been a lot more on Marketplace too, so maybe use this as an opportunity to get a cheaper one the stay-at-home mom who thought it would be easier or didn't realize how much work it would be, or whoever bought it and underestimated the amount of work.
And it's also it also is like how you view the quote problem, because there's a reason why they've made cheaper, I don't want to say cheaper in a bad sense, but more cost effective lasers like the X tool and like some of the other ones. It's because there's a growing market in wanting to do it. So if there's a growing market in wanting to do it, that means there's a growing market in people who want the stuff. Right. So it's like, it's the more people, the more eyeballs. And it's, to Will's, there's always going to be more buyers than makers, because the more people want to make, the more people want to buy, because now people are like, oh, I can, instead of going to Michael's or going to Home Goods or whatever, whoever down the street.
You can't get custom stuff from Michael's.
Well, you would think that that's kind of custom, or that's all you can get. Now you have all these options. So we're actually, and you take it from them, they're probably also like, these makers are taking all of our stuff because they're making it at home. So we're, it's not that we're part, at one point we were the same problem to a different industry.
Yes, true. Yeah.
So take that for and Will he's the man we go to whenever we talk. We pick his brain all the time. His lives, which are really podcasts, he doesn't want to brand them as podcasts, but they're podcasts, are great, and it all involves, and we just want to grow everybody. So that's what we got.
To piggyback what you guys were saying again, another point with the whole oversaturation is, now if I think everyone, if I saw no one making sales in a field, right? Let's just say whatever industry you are, if no one's making money in there, then you can start looking at maybe it's time, right, to pivot. But we do see people making a successful living making things, right? So if one person is doing it, that means that there's customers out there. And a lot of times it's, what are they doing that I'm not doing? But the flip side that a lot of people don't look at is, what are they not doing that we are still doing? Where have they found the key to knowing what they should be doing with their business to maximize their time, because we don't have a ton of time, that they've eliminated from their business that I'm still wasting time on, where I could be doing things that are actually truly moving the needle for my business.
Yeah.
I know we always hear the see what they're doing, do what they're doing, it works. But if you look at the other stuff that they're not doing and you're like, why am I still doing that?
Right.
That's another aspect that us as makers need to look at and say, they're being super efficient with their time. They do 3 things in a day, but they do these 3 things that move the needle. I'm doing 7 things. I feel like I'm being busier.
Right.
Yet 4 of those things do nothing to help grow your business.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to look at.
You can't buy more time, but you can become more efficient with your time. So it's finding those efficiencies. Okay, what is something that is, a time suck for me? Is there a better app out there for me? Is there someone out there that I can outsource this to who can do that for me? And then that means I get those 2 hours back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can't tell you how many times in my head I thought, oh, I can't afford that. That's too expensive. I'm sure that's out of my price range.
Right.
Without even looking into
pricing it. Yeah.
Without even pricing into it. I tell myself before I've even done any research, oh,
you've already
that's
talked
too
yourself
expensive.
out of it, yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, yes, maybe there are expensive versions or employees or people who do those things, but there's got to also be like ways, when I, before I hired my CPA, I had talked to myself like, oh, I was small business.
Right.
Like I was not making a ton of money at the time. And I told myself, oh, I can't afford to pay someone to do that. And then I went through my first year and it was the end of the year and I was like, fuck, I haven't done any of my accounting. I have to catch up on literally a year's worth of expenses and all of that and trying to make sense of this. And I don't know what to file. And I was like, no, whatever it is, that's part of my budget. Yeah. And now, like, if that means I make a little bit less, fine, but at least I'm less stressed and I don't think the IRS is going to come for me because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And when I found out at the time, it's way more expensive now because I have them do a lot more, but I think at the time it was something like $50 a month.
Well, and I was like, that's the thing, though.
Oh, that's one sign. That's so worth it.
Right, but that's the thing. You could have gotten all the services that you use now that back then you didn't really need because you're not where you're at now. But if somebody were to talk to you, oh, how much is like, oh, well, I pay because I do this, that already is like, oh, I'm too small and this and that. Not understanding that there are packages where it's a little less because there's less services.
Yeah.
So it is pricing these things at where you're, and here's like I always tell you.
Yeah.
It's when you're asking about price, asking people, I'm like, the worst thing they're going to say is no, or it's going to be too expensive. And now you just know you can't afford it, but you set yourself up to know
now you have a goal.
That's the goal.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, you can price yourself out in your head. Or you can actually go for it and be like, okay, yeah, that is too expensive like I thought. But it's not as much. Or it's way more than I thought. Let me learn this.
Yeah, and little things like my virtual assistant, I was like, oh, I can't afford a virtual assistant. I can't afford $1,500 a month or, whatever, because that's what my friend was paying. But then, when I approached them, they were like, oh, $45 an hour. And I was like, phew. Okay, and money was tight at the time, and I was like, I don't know. And then I saw how much she could complete in an hour compared to what I was completing in an hour doing the same things. And I'm like, oh yeah, $45 an hour here and there, like so worth it. So yeah, I don't tell yourself that something is too expensive or it's too hard to hire somebody or, whatever. Look into it first. Find facts and research that either like tell you were full of shit or you didn't know what you were talking about, or maybe it does validate what you were thinking, but now you actually have a solid goal to, to work towards. Or, hey, you approach them and you say, hey, this is my budget. Is there anything that you could create that could fit that? And if the answer is no, then you either keep looking or you table it for now and you try again in a few months.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like we have a really big goal.
Yeah.
1,200 patron members.
I know.
And we're at 63.
It's kind of crazy.
So I mean that is a crazy goal, but it can be done and will be. We'll get there, and then you set yourself up little goals like our 100 by the end of the year.
Right.
Which that's a little more
Thanks, Will.
attainable. Yeah. Again, you talk to
It
Will.
was his idea of the 100. Yeah.
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a Chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's Chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that, paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code RileyBlack will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
Hey there, podcast listeners. How great would it feel if this was the year you finally got to escape your 9-to-5 to embrace your lifestyle of creativity and entrepreneurship?
Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Eon Laser USA invites you to join the Freedom to Create webinar, where you'll learn how to make this a reality.
Join leading laser industry professional and brand ambassador Emily, aka That Mom with a Laser, and Eon Laser USA's sales manager Alicia as they dive into all things Eon.
Learn about the advantages of owning an Eon laser and get the scoop on Eon's rewards and partner benefits. Plus, get a glimpse at how everyday people who started out with zero experience paid off their lasers, scaled their businesses, and transformed their lifestyles.
So if you're ready for a lifestyle change, head over to eonlaser.us/whyus and sign up for the Freedom to Create webinar today.
Thanks for listening. Laser on.
Well, speaking of buying your time, I've been reading this book by Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time.
Oh, yeah,
It's great, but I definitely understand the whole buying time, right? It's the one resource we're limited on that we can't get back. And a mentor of mine once said to me was, when we talk about buying time, because I was the worst at it, right? I just thought I'd save money doing it myself. I don't have the money to spend. And a lot of us don't have the resources to buy back a ton of time. You can get it here or there, like you said, and you start to realize that it's affordable. But he said, if we were both starting a business and we were competing in a sense, you have 8 hours in a day. I hire 2 people at 8 hours. I now have 24 hours of productivity in that same day.
Yep.
Who is more likely to succeed? And I was like, well, that makes a ton of sense.
Right.
The problem I see, touche, you win. The problem I see with people when they try to buy back their time, though, is, okay, I know I can save myself 2 hours if I hire someone to do this. And then in those 2 hours, they say, okay, I'm paying them $25 or $30 an hour or whatever it might be. So I need to be able to produce more during those 2 hours than I'm paying them, right? Or it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And you'll pay 2 employees for an hour at $30 each, and it's $60. Yet you're on your phone scrolling TikTok, or you're on Facebook, where you're not doing the things to grow the business. The reason you're buying back that time is to then use your time to generate more revenue than what you're paying out. So I think that's a miss that a lot of people don't understand. If you have a plan and you know what you're going to do with that time, and you say, if I was to spend this much time on this project or this aspect of my business, I can generate an extra $300. Then when you have a plan, you're able to say, okay, I can go buy those 2 hours for half of that at $150. Then it gives you a little bit more perspective on what you're able to afford. But if you're just looking at where you are today and say, well, I can't afford $50 an hour, not knowing what you're going to do with those 2 hours, that's when it becomes, I can't afford that, because you haven't proven what you're going to earn with those 2 hours.
Right. Yep.
So I think that is it. And something you really touched on earlier too, when it comes to pricing or knowing your customers, is if you really want a long established business, we're playing the long game.
Right.
Right. You have to endure those ebbs and flows. Like you said, you're going to get a ton of people at any point. Anytime there's an industry that's successful, people are going to want to get involved with it.
Right.
And when they get involved with it, there's a lot of people who will also race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll see it. And if you treat it as a long game. You'll see. We've been in here in this game now for years, right? 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
There was hundreds of people who we saw 5 years ago crushing and racing to the bottom who are disappeared now.
Well, that's the thing that, I was going to say that it's not sustainable for a lot of those people. Those people who are pricing their ornaments or keychains for only $5 and they're layered and painting and all that stuff. How long are they going to last at that? How long is their family going to be patient with, no family time during the holidays or late nights and zero sleep and, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like,
they come to the same realization that we all did. Like, we're going to have to start charging
you
more.
either need to charge more, they have to change things. And the same point of, okay, maybe yours is $10 and theirs is $5 or whatever. Now you have to sell half of what they have to sell to make the same amount that you did.
Right.
And your laser is faster.
Right.
They bought a cheaper laser, so their overhead or their cost of barrier to entry was lower than yours. At the same time, it's going to take them twice as long to engrave
and double the material because they're making more. You're making less, so it's all that comes into play. Is like, oh, I made 500 sales. Cool, I made 200 sales, but we both end up with the same amount.
Right. Yeah.
If not, you a little more, or maybe they make a little more, but you did way less. You didn't have to do all of that for more or less the same amount.
Right. Yeah. Another thing I suggested to her was, which I told she was probably already doing, where did that piece of acrylic go?
What piece?
ADHD.
Oh, that one up top?
Yeah.
I had to put it down to get the extra
all right, sorry. Let me
inventory.
Was quality.
That's why we need our own studio. That's why we need 3.0. So there's not all this extra stuff for her to wander off.
I was like, what are you looking at? You're like, did something fall off the wall?
Welcome to my life. No, it didn't fall off the wall. I just moved something and she just noticed it.
It was a big piece of acrylic that was that was across the top shelf. And I just noticed it was gone while I was talking.
Because it was sitting on top of a box of inventory that I needed to take down.
I can't help it. It's just where my brain goes. What the fuck was I talking about?
Quality, girl.
Quality. That. So, and just, someone orders, say they were your customer before, right? And they have something that you made them with your 5 years of experience. You've streamlined your process. Maybe you don't even paint anymore and you just get the pre-colored, wood or pre-dyed or whatever. And then the other person they buy from, they probably used someone else's picture. Right. And then now they're making it, they use the designer's picture that, provides marketing materials or photos. And then the one that they get for half the price is half the quality or less. I'm pretty sure the next time they need something,
the Wish version of
exactly,
what
they're going to get the Wish version potentially of the item compared to maybe what you provided them the first time. And then when they go to order again, if they want that better quality, they're going to come to you because now they're going to see the value in the difference in that pricing. Now, if they want that cheaper quality item that's lower quality, maybe has smoke stains or, the flashback on the back that all of us hate and always look for in the stores, then those customers aren't necessarily your customers to begin with.
Right.
Because that's not the product you're putting out. That's not the customers that you want. And so, it's just another reason that okay, maybe they weren't your customers to begin with if that's what they're going for. That also brings me to the people who always post about, Dollar Tree is selling wood cutouts now. What are we going to do? And it's they're not, do you have customers who want the dollar cutouts?
Right.
Are those your customers? Are they even really competition? The cheap, probably not even 1/8 inch. It's probably 1/16 or, those aren't your people.
Right.
And if those are your people, then you got to figure out how to do something that Dollar Tree isn't. And that's maybe with the custom cutout shapes. Like, okay, Dollar Tree isn't doing Stephanie spelled with, PHINE or whatever,
Right.
So, yeah. I see you writing notes over there. What's your thoughts?
I know. No, I things just spark my mind, and I will forget.
He said Dollar Tree is doing. He's making a shopping list. Wait, where?
Right.
Yeah. No, I was actually at a show this weekend with different crafters and saw 6 or 7 different laser makers there, and the price disparity in some of the products. An ornament here for 12, an ornament here for 3. And
Stop. There's an ornament for 3.
It was a 2-layer ornament, and it was really well done. I was tempted to just buy them all and go sell them for 8.
That's the other thing.
Any work? I was
Make them your employee. Oh, you can sell them for that much? Great. I would love to have you make my items.
Or you can be a little sinister and be like, "What's your wholesale price?" And maybe even get a little bit less off there if you want to be, I'm just saying. I'm thinking like Will and getting a deal.
Right.
What's your wholesale on that?
Oh my God, you've created a monster over here.
Yes.
With Marketplace. He's been sending out so many offensive.
Join the revolution as I pivot my business into crazy laser deals on Marketplace.
Oh my God. Totally.
I have the golf cart.
He did.
They were asking like, what was it, like 8 or 9, and I offered 5.
Yeah, and they did come down to 65.
They met me. They met me, but even 5 was gonna be hard.
Right.
I have a golf cart in my warehouse to drive between the 100 yards of the 2 warehouses.
Right. How much did you pay for it? Do you remember?
$1,100.
Okay, yeah, that's a good price.
Yeah, it's a little bit older, but I didn't need anything fancy. I'll throw some rims on there and call it a day.
Throw some D's on there.
Exactly. When you were talking about Dollar Tree, the first thing I thought of was I love the exposure.
Yeah.
They're going to see wood cutouts. They're going to see a product that maybe they didn't think of. Right. And when they realize the quality that they're getting, and then they see yours, there's a perceived value, right? And there's also value. So they're like, you know what? Yes, I could buy that for my 2-year-old who's going to scribble on it, but maybe my nephews and nieces who want something nicer that I want to give a Christmas gift to, I'm not giving them a Dollar Tree thing.
Right.
And when we talk about competition, I had 4 points that I try to explain to people that I talk to, because I have these conversations with people all the time, and these are maybe potentially 4 ways that you can set yourself apart from your competitors, especially those who you feel are racing to the bottom. One is deliver extraordinary service, right?
Yeah.
But people mistake what extraordinary service is. I talk to a lot of people, and they'll say, hey, if my website looks great, it's a price that they find value in, they order it, they say they're going to get it in 4 days, I make them the product, it's beautiful, it's cleaned up, it's exactly what they were looking for, and they get it in 4 days, that's amazing service. And I'm always of the mindset of that's expected service. When I go to a store and I order a burger with no pickles, if they give it to me with no pickles and it's hot and it tastes good, that's not great service. That's what I was expecting.
Right.
So when someone orders from me and they say, well, you got it in time, it looked great, it was everything I wanted, that's what they should have got. Anything less is below average service. So what can you do to enhance that customer's experience for them to remember you, right? Is it a handwritten note? Is it just even a thank you, a week later say, hey, you know what, thank you so much for your business. I hope you still enjoy what you're getting, or whoever's the gift was for. Those little things set yourself apart. Another thing that we can do is be faster. Be faster than our competitors. Time is money for everybody. I don't care if you're a consumer or a maker. Time is of the essence, right? And if I will say, when I look at Marketplace, same thing with you. If you see someone who's selling anything, I'm searching 50 of those. And I'm sending out messages to 25 people for that same item. So if I looked up a monogram on Marketplace, I'm probably, and you get a message from someone, they're probably shopping it at different places. There's other people who are posting. And if I'm the first to respond, I'm the first when they ask questions. I'm the first to take care of any concerns they have when they get their product. That sets me apart. If they have an issue with an order, it's not a week later. I just take care of them as quickly as possible. People appreciate timeliness. So be faster in all you do. Responses to questions, when they inquire about a product, all of the things. If you're faster, you're usually first, and that tends to get you the business quicker. Build relationships with your customers. Turn your customers into fans. We've seen in this community, the ones who are the most successful aren't just customers of those businesses. They're like rabid fans of that business. And right there, you turn them into fans by the level of service you give them, the quality, the speed, and you can't be touched in so many ways. Because, and the fourth thing that I was saying was, someone told me you never truly have a customer until someone offers the same product at a lower price, yet they still shop with you. And if they still choose you, then you have a customer for life. So what do you do to get them to still shop with you? Oh, I know I'll spend $5 more on that, but when I have a problem, they're going to take care of me. They follow up with me. They're attentive to all my needs. They'll spend more with you. I definitely spend more with companies that I enjoy and I know will take care of me over some random person.
For sure.
So
yeah. Another one, I guess, on the pricing front, Jess suggested bringing it up was the pricing conversation that we had impromptu on the live that I had a couple weeks ago. You were sending out a quote to a customer. And the price that you were giving out that you were thinking of giving was much lower than the price you thought or knew that your competitors were going to give.
Or had an idea of what they would.
And Will, you were asking everyone, for their advice on like what to price it as and whatever. And Will brought up how the example that Mark has given a couple times, in that there was once that he bid on a job and his quality was good, but his price was too low. And it actually made
Perceived
them
value.
not go with him because they were worried about the quality. Even though they had seen the quality in his work, the pricing too low will make people also shy away. Because typically when you get bids, you don't always go for the cheapest. Because with the cheapest, that's going to be the guy who doesn't show up on the day that he was supposed to, or shows up 2 hours late, or doesn't finish the job right, or isn't good finishing, or whatever. The perceived value that comes from that pricing is very important when pricing. And then also when offering certain packages, that middle price, there's some science behind that middle price in pricing the middle price towards the package you want them to choose, or you think they're most likely to choose. So Will, I'll have you maybe explain that, because you can probably explain it a little bit better than I just did, but
well, one thing I wrote down really quickly here, when you talk about the lowest price and maybe being the highest price, that when I was with other companies and we got bids for jobs, one thing my boss tended to do was almost always eliminate the lowest one and eliminate the highest one, almost like gymnastics scoring. When they do like gymnastics or diet, they're like, the lowest score is taken out, the highest score is taken off, and then we average out the rest, because there are those outliers. And there is something very much to that perceived value, regardless of how good your work is. If you're significantly lower than everyone else, your mind thinks, I don't know if they know what they're doing, or they're just undercutting because they're lower. Why? 100%. Like when I looked at the ornaments that were significantly cheaper, the first thing I did was, let me check the back for charge. Is it on here secure? All the things, right? And So when with us, if we race to the bottom, you will get those people who will shop with you. There's people who will just find the lowest price ever, but a lot of times you're going to be viewed as the discount brand. Right? When I want something cheap and fast, I'm just going to go shop with them. And hey, if that's your niche, if that's who you want, hey, all the power to you. Go for it. It's not for me, but hey, hey, there's a market for it, right? There's a Dollar Tree for a reason. We all shop at Dollar Tree. There's a reason, because sometimes that's the things we want. But
well, and even that's a good example of perceived value as well, is because so some of those things, if you go in Dollar Tree, if you look at what you're buying, you're actually paying more sometimes for something, because like at Dollar Tree, they're going to give you this small little quantity for, and nothing's $1 anymore. It's always like the Dollar General or whatever. So now it's
dollar
like
quarter store.
Right. Yeah. Cause I bought some containers and they were like $3 and $5. I was like, $5? We're at the Dollar Tree or Dollar General or whatever. But when you look at it, so say there's a quantity of 10, right? And they're $3 or $1 or whatever.
Right.
You go get 100 of those at the normal store, like say Ziplocs, right? I can't think of anything else.
Right.
So, you get 10 Ziplocs for $1 or $3. Well, you get 50 to 100 for $5 at a regular store. You piece that out per item. You paid way more for those however many Ziplocs at Dollar Tree when you compare it to, if I would have just bought the whole box for a couple dollars more, I'd get way more and actually end up spending less. So kind of like buying in bulk.
And that's if the quality's the same.
Even comparable. Right. Yeah. Because then there's the quality that goes into it too. You're not going to, like, if I go to the Dollar General, I go sometimes for Christmas decorations. I know damn well that whatever I'm buying will likely not make it to the second year of decorating. And if it does, bonus.
Right.
But
bonus. It's like when I used to buy outfits at Forever 21. I knew it was one season and I'm done.
Exactly. Right. You weren't getting a ton of washes out of that and it was going to fall apart. And if you wore it like crazy, you knew that like the seams were going to fall apart, or those are going to be the ones that, for us girls with the thick thighs. That's when the holes. From wearing them.
Rubbing. So you're getting some wear there.
A little thin.
That's why I wouldn't buy 1,000 bottles of baby oil at Dollar Tree. I tend to go to Costco.
Stop.
Way better quality.
How many minutes are we in? How long did it take him to?
We have 13 minutes left.
Nice. So about 45 minutes.
About 45
minutes before I got to a Diddy joke. So.
That's pretty good for you. I feel like some people might actually be disappointed that they had to wait that long.
Right? They're like, I've been listening to this show for 40 minutes. Will's giving us nothing. This is all knowledge.
He's behaving.
He's behaving. What the heck is this? I thought this was going to just be chaos. And
these are good tips.
Teaching us actually things.
Right?
So I better get back to your question before we get too sidetracked on this. Was the tiered pricing that we were talking about?
Yes.
Doing the 3 tiers, right? You're giving them options, and the key one, I think, and we talked about, was where you place the middle. The middle price is usually the key, right? It's kind of like the popcorn at movie theaters. You'll start your small at 5 and your large at 10. Let's just use it for as example. And where you price your middle tier one will determine which one you think your customers are more likely to buy and how to get them to buy within a certain level. If you think most of your people are buying the $5 one, then you're pricing your middle one a little bit closer to the lower one. So you get the people who were going to buy that little one, the small, say, well, it just makes sense for a couple more dollars at 7 to get a medium. Now, if you think that your clientele is more likely to buy the medium, right? Then you or the large, you price your medium closer to the large. So if they were saying, well, it's $8 for the medium, but it's 10 for the large, I might as well just jump.
Right.
That's where
my
you
brain
have that
just did it immediately, like I wasn't being tricked.
Yeah,
$10.
You just $8 or $10. I'm going to buy the $10 because it's $2 more. Yeah. But the thing is trying to know your customer, because if you were the $5 customer jumping to 8 or 9, you'd be
it's
like,
just going to make you go
Nick
straight
ready.
to 5. Yeah.
It'll make you go straight to 5. But so if you think a lot of your customers are buying the small, getting that little bump to get them to the medium means you've increased that customer's value by $1 or $2 each time.
Right.
So it's never an exact science, right? It's hard to kind of really know, but we all know that people tend to lean toward the medium in anything, right? So if you can price it close to your high end, then they say, well, if I'm going to spend $9, $1 more to get the large, I'm going to do that. I mean, we do it with sodas, right? We do it with when I worked at Starbucks. If you look at the price from the tall at Starbucks to the grande, there's a pretty big gap. But the gap from grande to venti is really close. And we used to say that every single customer, hey, would you like to make that a venti for 25 cents more?
Right.
It pretty much cost us nothing. It's just more ice.
Yeah.
But you get them to spend 25 cents or 50 cents more. Hey, I no longer work for them.
Right.
I tattooed their logo on me, and I still get no free coffee. So I'm free to expose all the Starbucks
all the
secrets.
secrets.
All the secrets. That was a fun time. I remember when I sat with the CEO too. He was like, one thing we will never do, we will never serve hot food in our stores because it competes with the smell of coffee. And when we walk into a Starbucks, we want you to smell coffee, not bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
That didn't last. That didn't last.
Right.
We will never have mobile because we want the customer interaction.
Right.
We want you to come to the register. We want to say, hey, Crystal, good to see you. What's your drink?
What if Crystal doesn't want that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they did mobile.
And it gave us the opportunity to have you say your name. We get to know your name. We get to spell it wrong on purpose, just to spell it wrong on purpose. And, have some fun with it. But
spell it wrong.
You walk in.
They do a TikTok, free advertisement.
Right?
Yeah, you spelled my name wrong. Mark, we had a meetup here a week ago.
Yeah,
and
how
Mark
did that
was
go,
out
by the
here.
way?
It went really good. And Dawn was here, and we went out for coffee with Dawn and Mark and her husband Nathan. Great, loved it. But every time we went to Starbucks, they asked her name. Then she said Dawn. And on the cup, it was DON every single time.
Stop.
Dawn.
When they saw her.
Yes. It would be different if it was a guy. But
like a mobile order, maybe. Or, a mobile order, you type it in.
No, this was in person, Dawn ordering, and it's DON. I was like, they're doing this on purpose.
They have to be.
On purpose.
On
purpose.
Because, how do you spell Dawn wrong?
I mean, technically it's not spelled wrong.
Well, that is true.
It's just spelled differently.
Yeah.
And that is probably what it is, and we had that debate too. Hey, a PSA: if you have if you're naming your children, just spell it right. You don't have to get creative.
No, we got creative.
You don't have to be too creative. Johnny is not JON-E. No, it doesn't work like that. That's not Johnny.
We didn't go too crazy.
Wrong.
We didn't do JACKSON. Ours is JAXSON.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, and I mean our intention initially for that was because we were going to call him Jax. But now he's Jackson.
Yeah.
We haven't really called him Jax. So, but that's why we kind of needed to call him that, spell it that way, because I had every intention of calling him, Jax. But yeah, now, I mean, we still could. And when he's in trouble, say Jackson.
We could, but he's a total Jackson. You need the full name for him.
You need the full name.
Jax is not enough.
It's not enough for that personality. He needs the full name.
We need to start busting out his middle name.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You can't get the voice loud enough in such
with one syllable
name.
Right.
Yeah,
it has to
be like,
he needs to know that we're talking to him.
He doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't.
We went to Legoland.
That man took off.
He ran, and I told my mom, you tried to call his bluff, which
I did,
and it did not work.
So kept going.
He ran, and John started to run after him, and he was running really fast.
No. At first, I wanted to see he's gonna turn around. At some point, he's gonna be like, "Oh, this is too far."
No,
and either stop or come back or start coming back. Like, okay,
and
whatever.
John tried to call his bluff and tried to turn back around and walk the other direction and see if Jackson would stop.
No,
he's like,
he
I'm
didn't
free.
Care. And I turned to my mom. I go, I don't know why he called his bluff because Jackson doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah,
he knew.
He cut the corner, and I couldn't see him anymore. And that's when I was like, "Oh man!"
Oh shit!
I was like, "JR, go get him," because got to send the other.
It's real now.
Well, yeah. JR starts running, and I was like, "JR, no!" And then I was like, I saw how fast JR was, and I was like, oh, "Okay, you can go."
Yeah, you're gonna catch him way faster than we ever will.
Yeah, I didn't even try.
And he wasn't he wasn't in any trouble. It's Legoland, but still.
Yeah. Right. And then my mom.
That's a good passive aggressive, oh no, he can't get into trouble as he jumps into a lake.
Right. Fine. He would find a way. My mom the next day should be here any day. She's like, I sent you something. And it was one of those the backpacks with the leashes.
It's a leash. It's not it's
I can't do that. I cannot do that. I'll be honest. I am, I have some kids who will run and have they'd be like, I can't do it. I said that's one thing I draw the line. You know what? I'd rather just have them run off. I'll take the responsibility.
Yeah, he'll learn.
I had 5. Now I have 4, but I refuse to put my kid on the choke chain. Mm-hmm. So even if it's cute, it's a little bear.
It wasn't a dinosaur.
At him. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I would rather just shackle all the kids together. At least that looks like I'm being serious. Don't make a human leash look cute.
Right.
I just can't. I don't know. Hey.
Yeah. No judgment to people who do though. I legit get why. But it's also why we don't go a lot of places because and when we do, he's usually in the stroller and he's strapped in. That's why he's going to be that kid that Cat Williams talks about in the stroller where his feet almost touch the ground.
So many.
They're dragging.
There were so many. I'm like, why isn't that kid walking?
That's why, probably.
The knees are in the chest. Let that kid walk.
Probably why, because he might be a runner.
And then we're not
it's a restraint. Sometimes you just have to lock them in. I've done the wagon, which is great until they jump out mid-pull.
Right.
Then sometimes you just have to, you know what? 5-point harness. You're locked in here. They're kicking and screaming.
Right. Yeah, it's fine, but you're not going anywhere.
They're telling you, please let me out of the stroller.
Right.
Their feet are hanging over the edge, and you're running it over every so often.
Right,
all the good stuff. You're like, why is that kid in a baby stroller? But not to say I have seen even crazier. I've seen a kindergartner, I think 5, where the mom came at lunch and at recess and breastfed. I'm like, okay, cool.
All right.
Hey,
so how do we get back on
we're back on track now. 5-year-old breastfeeding.
Isn't that what we were talking about? What
product can you sell to that mother?
A mask, so no one knows your identity. The masked breastfeeder. You're over here, and they're like, just that. Yeah, an acrylic mask with LEDs.
Oh man, I can't with you. Okay, so let's get things back on the road. I'm gonna ask you, what is one tool, mindset, or skill that you obtained that made a huge impact on your business? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
All right. Well, 1, no skills, so I won't answer that one.
Okay.
I've been called a tool many times, so I'll leave that alone. So mindset, kind of based on what we were talking about today, I think one thing that I've said many times in the groups, and it always resonates with me when I have these conversations, is don't change your price to match your customer. Change your customer to match your price.
Yeah. Because
there's customers out there who will pay what you feel your time is worth. It's just we haven't found them.
Right.
Just like in the neighborhood, we hear it a lot. Oh, my customers will never pay that. My customers will never pay that. My small town does not pay that. Yet in their small town, there's a house that's $100,000 and there's a house that's $500,000.
Yep. Totally.
Yep.
So What you're saying is you just haven't found the customers that will pay your price, not that they're not out there. So put yourself in front of the right customers.
Exactly. And with everything, I mean, sure, if you only want to do local, then you again need to find that local community and what are those things that community is buying. Or if it's the lower end, what can you make for those prices that they'll buy? And then there's the other part of it is that as an online business, your customers can be literally anywhere. So maybe they don't exist in your small town, but maybe that means you shouldn't be selling to your small town, you know? Yeah. So...
Well, or you're also selling in the wrong parts of your small town. I was talking to a person at the show who was selling these really nice high-end charcuterie boards. And he goes, hey, I'm not getting any bites on this. I said, well, you're at a holiday market in a sense, but you're in a show that is labeled for crafters and makers. Right. And that's fine. But people who come there are looking for something else. But if you were at a food and wine show and you were a vendor at a food or wine show, those are the people who find value in those type of boards.
Exactly.
So you have this great product, but you keep putting it in front of the wrong people. It doesn't matter how great your product is, they'll never buy it.
Yeah, like Robin said last week with the fine art stuff, she had a person sell a showstopper for $1,000 and she thinks it could have gone for even more. Right. But that same piece in the wrong audience may only go for like a couple $100. And now are you really covering all of your time and materials and effort that went into that bigger piece? You need to put yourself in front of those people as well to then, get that customer. What were you going to say? Do you remember?
No.
Okay.
Don't remember.
Well, so we're just at about an hour.
Yes.
So we'll keep talking, but we'll finish up the general mission portion of this.
Value in this to go ahead and join Patreon because it's your last shot to get to that $4.
Here's an extra little push. So Will is giving general admission 10% off.
Okay.
CrazyLaserDad.com. And the code TRBP10, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then what expiration do you want to put on it?
End of the year.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, we'll go to the end of the year.
And then for patrons, they get more.
Yes.
So if you want more than that, it's Q4.
Yep.
I mean, you start stocking up.
Yep.
We don't know what's going to happen in January.
No.
With the possible tariffs and everyone's freaking out. Buy.
Correct. I was like, where are you going with this? Yes.
Buy them now because prices could be going up if, everyone has to pay tariffs on goods. So, take that extra percentage off. Go support.
Where can they take that extra percentage off? Will?
You can go to CrazyLaserDad.com. It's the simplest place. Nice. You can look at all the laser ready blanks there. I carry cutting boards, knives, wallets, a little bit of everything. I think I have about 300 SKUs there. So go to CrazyLaserDad.com. 10% off for all watchers. And like you said, we will share the Patreon discount, the patrons, as I call them.
Patrons.
The patrons will get additional percentage off until the end of the year.
What's your Facebook group again?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know what I've changed it to. If you just look at Will's Laser Supply, it comes up.
Think so. Yeah. There you go.
I've changed the name numerous times to try to make it more inclusive so that people, even though it's my business group, and it was intended originally to just sell my business stuff.
Yep.
It's kind of morphed into more of a general laser community. So if you're looking to join a community and be able to get advice about all lasers, any questions or any concerns you have about your business, it's an amazing group. We have close to 45,000 members now.
Nice.
And it's, even though it's a big group, it feels small. We
I agree.
definitely kept a certain level of culture there that we just don't tolerate any of the crap.
Right.
If you come there, wanting to talk shit or look down on people or use the search bar type comments, you're out pretty quickly.
Right. Exactly. Cool.
Well, that'll do it for our general admission. You guys are gonna have the life update coming up next, and welcome to the update.
After. Depends on if you're the general admission or the Patreon. Patreon, man, you've been hanging out with us for a minute.
If you're general admission, you're going to want to sign up because not only the change, this one went a little bit off the rails. If you've seen our lives with Will, and it went off the rails before
we went to
Patreon. It was going. We reeled it back in,
right.
But then we went off the rails for a little bit.
Yeah,
on Patreon,
as always.
But with that said, I mean, we are pushing Patreon. So as everyone knows, we are leaning into podcasting. And if you've seen me personally, I'm posting in the groups. I'm using Chat GPT. I'm using all the things. There it is. It didn't start but you were fighting. I saw you fighting. But we're leaning hard into Patreon and into the podcast itself.
We want to do this more often. We want this to be our main thing, and everything else is just supplemental to it.
Sprinkle, and we can add a lot of more content.
So we have some goals coming up, and listen, it was time for us to make some changes. We created this Patreon almost 3 years ago now, over 3 years ago. And we haven't really made any changes except for adding that $25 level that we added at some point, when I think it was a suggestion from Mark, actually. I would like to do more than $12 a month, but I can't because it doesn't exist. And so we added that one.
Except Danny found a way.
Yeah, Danny did find a way.
But he found a way.
Right? Yeah, you can edit it, and then you can choose a custom amount, apparently. So, by all means, if you'd like to do a custom amount, you can.
We're not going to be mad at you.
Yeah, no. But so we're shifting those. Check out the breaking news update that we posted in the group. We'll make sure to kind of put it out there a few times so that everyone knows. But the $4 level is going away. No fear. If you are an existing patron, you are grandfathered in. Nothing's going to happen to your access. Nothing's going to happen to your benefits. You still get all the benefits and the price that you signed up for.
Do they keep dental and vision?
They keep dental and vision. Okay. But the $4 level won't be available for new patrons after January 1st, and then all the rest of the perks are kind of being bumped up one. So,
and if you bump out of the 4, you don't come back as a 4.
Right, you can't come back as a 4 if you leave. You'll have to start at 6 or higher.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty much just what we're doing. We're trying to
also I have to say, go ahead and sign up online. Like, use a computer. Don't use Apple.
Yeah, I don't know
unless you're on Android. Then you can use your phone.
Yeah, I don't know when the Apple fee is going to happen.
Fees to it. But. So if you sign up for if you're signing up for the $4 before January, or you sign up for the 6 or 12, there's going to be an added fee. So if it's more than that and you're on Apple, it's not our fault. We don't get that money.
It's them.
It's them. They get that money. They're charging it to all third parties. It's not just Patreon.
Yeah.
So even if you subscribe to anything else with your Apple page,
watch for that.
It's more than what you were expecting. Yeah. That's probably why, because they're charging third party for for subscriptions.
Yeah. But so we're just trying to take our own advice. We're trying to work, smarter, not harder, and just trying to make it like everybody else.
Yeah. Should we tell them about the West Side? In February?
Oh, yes. So we have purchased flights.
Booked.
So we're going.
Yes.
We are going to before APA, IPE, the International Personalization Expo, in the beginning of February, the 4th through the 7th. So we will be there. Yes. And we decided
recording
to add
the show as well.
Yes. We decided to add a stop on the way. So we will be visiting Will. Damn, we should have talked about it.
We should have. I didn't know if we were going to.
So we'll be visiting Will in Sacramento. So February 1st is when a meetup will be, Crazy Laser Dad and the Riley Black Project.
So if you're in the area or you're traveling there, that's perfect time to come stop on by.
But it'll be our first
hi.
Kind of first TRBP tour, because we're also going to be in Colorado on December 6th.
Yeah. So if you're in Colorado,
we're figuring out the location. I want to make sure that this location is like actually happening before I say it.
Right.
But we'll be in Colorado December 6th, and we'll be doing a meetup and hopefully a podcast as well, if the space is conducive of such.
If you're watching this, you are in Colorado and you're thinking of going, can you just like reach out to us somehow?
Reach out to us. Join. There's a Colorado laser group that Desiree Townsend runs. I forget what like the name of it is, but type in Colorado and laser and you'll probably find it. Just lots of moving parts that we're doing, and lots behind the scenes to just hopefully make things bigger and better, and so that we can do this all the time.
Our goal, our long-term goal for right now is 1,200 members, Patreon members in total. Doesn't matter what tier. Just sign up.
Yep.
By the end of the year, we will reach 100.
Look at you.
We will reach
speaking
100,
it into existence.
100 members by the end of the year.
Yes, that would be great.
And everyone's going to lock in that $4.
Yes.
So that they don't get bumped up.
Yes, because, you can sign up for the $4 level now.
Yeah, you'll be grandfathered
until December 31st.
You could be a grandfather or grandmother up until the beginning of the year.
He stole my line.
I did. You'll have to see that on the little short we did.
Yes.
But with that, it's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project. Chris and John.
Bye.
Mamie, we're all done.